Welcome back to Moms on a Mission. This is episode 40.
Something, right?
Yeah, 40 something. Don't ask questions, okay? So
That's right. That's our mantra from now on.
Yes. Yeah, 40 something. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, until we get past that. Then we got to think of something funnier.
Yeah. Well, we will.
Yes. All right. We are super excited about this episode. We have a very special guest. We have Phillip Kimbrell with us. He is a local paramedic. He's a firefighter. He is a self-proclaimed jack of all trades, just as myself. And we are super excited to talk to him. He does a ton in our community. He is a well-known, well-loved responder in our area. So we're excited to talk with him.
Yeah, we are. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate it. This is going to be fun.
Yes. Yeah, we have questions for you.
Okay.
We'll get some insight. All right. Whose turn is it to kick us off in prayer?
I think it's mine.
All right, let's do it.
All right, ready? All right, bow your heads, close your eyes. Lord, thank you for this day and thank you for this opportunity to gather. We ask that you guide our words and let this conversation reflect your truth and your grace. Encourage every mom listening and remind them that their identity is found in you alone. We ask that you use this time for your glory, and in your name we pray. Amen.
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 All right. So, you want to kick us off or you want me to kick us off?
No, I can kick us off. Let me pull my mic back up a little bit. I think, you and I, we go several years back. I don't even know if you remember. I feel like my first interaction with you was when we did the Bruce family photos.
I was the camera guy. I was the camera guy. I was the, what do you call it? I was the best boy. I run around behind you with lenses all day.
You did amazing, and I just knew then, so kind, willing to help with anything.
Awesome.
Great attitude. And so we've just kept in touch over the years and, share in the fact that I was a first responder for many years myself. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just one of those, it doesn't matter how far away you get from the work, like you're always going to be connected.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, in that line of stuff. So, you were looking or seeking someone to interview from a first responder point for the magazine.
Yeah, so I work for a local magazine as their content coordinator, Habersham Neighbors, and we like to highlight our first responders in the area. So I put out just a really quick Facebook post like, hey, who do you guys want to see as our first responder in the next month? Anybody, throw some suggestions at me for, a person to highlight. Overwhelming response.
Phillip Kimbrell. I played them all very well.
Phillip Kimbrell. I mean, one after the other, after the other, after the other. He was tagged by some. He was just mentioned by some. It was crazy how many. I got tons of names, but Phillip Kimbrell's was
number one.
Made the response double because of how many people said.
I think when I finally saw it, I was like, has anybody mentioned Phillip yet? Knowing that 75 people had already beat me to it.
Yeah, it was wild. I was like, okay, well, I know who the first one is going to be for sure.
This guy.
Yes. Yep.
This guy.
Yeah, that was awesome. So I just got to send him our our questionnaire, and he answered it, and the act actually just came out. It just started mailing 2 days ago. So awesome. I'll be able to post it and let everybody know they are going to get to see you highlighted there.
Yep.
There's not a lot to highlight.
It's all stories.
That's
all
lies.
Stories.
False. That's lies.
Yep.
So let's go. I like the questions that we have put together.
Yeah.
And so let's just tackle some of those. But for anyone who does not know you yet, which seems like there's not very many.
Yeah.
But for anyone who doesn't know you yet, tell us a little bit about your journey. What led you into emergency services, and what has kept you there all these years?
So the joke was always been it was peer pressure because I was friends with Brian Smith in high school. His daddy, of course, was the Cornelia fire chief. Chief Smith at the time.
Okay.
And I got to hanging around the fire department like at 14 or 15 as an explorer post, and it just kind of grew from there.
That's cool.
My whole life up until then, my daddy drove a truck, and that's what I was going to do. I was going to be a truck driver, and it kind of turned me, and
stuck with it.
30 some odd years later, here I am still.
Awesome.
So I don't know if I could tell everybody, I've been bred since I was 14 to be an advocate for the county, for the people. I mean, that's what we do, is we have to fight for our patients and and the people who need us when we need them. So,
And you have done it well for all those years.
I try to do my best. Some days are harder than others, just like every other
Absolutely.
job. Some days you don't want to be there, but you're still there. So it's just you walk in and you
Got a job to do.
got a job to do like everybody else. That's
Well,
it.
you clearly have a heart for it because with just the time that you've been there alone, that's a hard job to stay with for that long. That is awesome.
There was a little bit of a break. I took
Yeah.
about a 2.5 year break. I drove a truck for a little while. I got out of public safety, said I wasn't ever going back, and I don't know. We got there.
lured you back in.
It did. Me and my wife talked about it. I'm a true believer that God puts me where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And we talked about it around January of the year, and then 2 or 3 months later, the guy calls and he says, "Hey, we're going to have to shut the trucking side of this business down."
Oh,
And I was like, "Well, there you go. There's my
There's
my
my
sign. It's
sign.
time
Yep.
to go back to work."
Here's
So
your sign.
I laid down the keys to a Peterbilt and picked up my fire gear and went right back on the truck. So,
Wow.
Nice. I love that. Because it is one of those things like there's such a high turnover rate.
Yeah.
And there just feels like there's always a constant vacancy in a public safety position, department, whatever. So not that it's unheard of to just be able to walk back in somewhere, but like I do feel like it's one of those things that you can easily return to because there's such a need for it.
Well, and how cool, like just to see God's hand in things and, how he works of, if your daddy was a truck driver, there may have been something there where, in your heart, you would have, maybe wanted to try that out or, it was a family business or,
Yeah.
something. And you got to get a little taste of both. And
did.
that's just so cool to me how you can find his work and, once you kind of step back and it's past you. That's very, very cool.
don't say it passed me because I did have a turnout, or not a turnout, but a jump pack in my truck. So if I saw wrecks or fires or something,
Yeah.
I'd be sitting on the side of the road. I'd be
Well,
out there
of course.
doing the
That's-
job. I couldn't pass
I
it.
could
It was
see
like,
it.
no, it's something I'm pretty good at.
Yeah.
So I might as well give it to it while I'm here.
Well, it's in your heart. And that also shows, you're doing what you're good at, what you're supposed to be doing. You say you're jack of all trades, but and I can see that, like I said, that's my heart too. But you know what you're good at, you know where your heart is, and you've been able to stay with that for so long. That's incredible.
Right. And I tell people I just get lucky a lot is the thing. It's not that I'm really, really good at it. I just get really lucky. So
I doubt that.
Blessed.
Yeah, blessed. There you go.
Which kind of segues into one of the questions I think that both of us had is, how have you seen your faith make a difference in crisis situations?
a lot, because you have to put the faith that I have the knowing from being taught, but at the same time, it is, a higher being. It is somebody who leads you to do stuff.
Absolutely.
Just like I said a few minutes ago, God puts me where I'm supposed to be. Even on days off, my mother-in-law will tell you that my head's on a swivel if we'll go out to eat somewhere. I've honestly got up, just sitting there eating, get up and start walking over and talking to somebody about what kind of problems do you have? You're having struggles breathing right now. What do you have with you that can take care of it?
Yeah.
And she's like, I didn't even pay attention to that till you was already over there. And it's like, you just pay attention to it. It's second nature just to pick that up, just to understand and see what's going on around you at all times.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you do the same thing. You go in, head on a swivel. I'm always looking around. I'm looking for people.
Back to the wall in a restaurant.
I'm looking to the
facing the door.
Facing the door. Got to
Yep.
see the door. Got to know where everything is, where the exits are when I walk in. So it's just
It's
a
just
perspective.
like you said, second nature. Like
Right.
once you start it, it's just there.
Yeah. Well, I do the fact that you have a faith in God. I don't mean to sound bold about this, but I feel like people who are first responders, that is it's a more it's harder to have faith, I guess is like a better way to say it, because you see so much. You
So much
see
negative.
reality of being here and seeing really hard things. And I can see an aspect of having faith maybe takes some of that pressure off, but it's also very tested faith, I
Right.
feel like. So for you to have that and continue to have your faith and carry it on and speak with other people about that, I think that's just so awesome, because I would imagine in your area of work, it's a place where others may struggle.
Right. A lot of the firefighters, we have the same feeling. It's from Isaiah. God said, "Who shall I send?" I said, "I'm here. Send me." And that's the way we feel. We're here. Send us. We'll go do the job. We'll get done what we need to get done.
Yeah.
So, and it's just it's not a job. It's more of a lifestyle you have to live and understand. And our spouses have to do the same because, we're going from home 24 to 48 hours at a time.
Right.
We're gone for days and they don't see us.
And you're not just gone. You could be in a scary spot, in a scary position.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
But I think it kind of goes back to, I think it was Jonathan Pokluda that explained it best. And he said, when you are breaking down like the aspect of prayer, when somebody prays like, Lord, help me.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the guy that shows up at your door. That's the answer to your prayers, directly or indirectly.
Yep.
But I think it's also, really tough to work in the profession without a faith. I don't understand how you could get through some of the tough spots, without having, something that you believe in that's bigger and higher than yourself. It's just because it is. There are things that you'll see and that you're faced with and that challenge you. And it's very easy for us to stand here and go, why is this happening?
Right, exactly.
Because you see the worst of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time your interactions are negative. Very rarely are they intentionally positive.
Right.
And so without having a faith of your own, I just feel like it would make it so much tougher.
Yeah, I could see that. But I do think it's a very tested faith.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Probably on every call in some aspect.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
What's your next question?
Well, so we had talked about kind of being able to ask you questions from a parental lens of, I'm a believer. I got 2 boys. So I'm kind of a believer of like scare them straight.
That works for some.
I saw that show when I was a teenager, and I thought, this is the most cruel thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I had children, and I was like, no, they need to know the truth. Mm-hmm. They need to know consequences. But I know not everybody agrees with me in that. And also, there sometimes when, if you watch past episodes of this, you'll know sometimes I take it a little far with the whole truth thing.
Right.
It's better that way.
I was about to say, if you don't want the whole truth, I'm not the person that needs to be sitting here. So,
well, that's my question. As a first responder, as you get, a very special lens at looking at the youth in our community, the people that you deal with. What if you can think of something that you would like for parents to know, you would like for them to be sharing with their children? Do you have any kind of things?
I think 2 of the biggest things with parents and children these days is you hear parents say, "Oh, well, their kids are my best friends." Mm-hmm. Okay, that can be okay. You can be their friends, but be their parents first.
Yep.
Show them what's right, show them what's wrong.
Interesting.
Let them understand that, and then you can be friends, but be their parents first to make sure you have them led to the correct direction where they need to be going.
Interesting. Yep. I like that. I remember we talked about, we have kind of touched on before, we sat through a sermon one time where it was when Pastor Mike was at the torch, and he had a parenting series, and he had said, when they're young, you get until about 12. And if you haven't set them in that way, if you haven't really laid that groundwork for them, now you're fighting an uphill battle.
Right.
And I think, even the friend aspect is a lot easier, a lot better done if they are past their teenage years. Because I agree. I think, it's hard, but I think parenting should come first prior to, that adulthood. But I know that's a lot easier said than done. I wouldn't have thought that was your answer. I love that. I think that's a great thought.
And it's so now that we're in March, I get to say, which breaks my mama heart, that my oldest will be a teenager next month.
Yep.
Which is wild to me.
Yep.
And we've had this conversation, and it has very much been, right now, my job is to be your mom. Mm-hmm. We can be friends.
Right.
We can be, but not first and foremost.
Yeah.
And really not for the majority of the time right now. I feel like there are still a couple of years that we have to go until we can really be buddies.
Yeah.
Because I do see where some parents that are, self-proclaimed BFFs with their kids are not parenting them correctly.
No.
And it's, people in the community, first responders, whoever else, educators that feel that the most when they're outside of the four walls of their house and they're in a classroom or they're just, out in public. How you're raised is going to shine.
Yeah.
And it's either going to be for good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you think about, kids, we talk about cell phones a lot here. Laura and I are big advocates for holding off cell phones as long as possible.
Right.
And we, it's just another one of those things where they're allowed to kind of step into this private box where there could be, things, mean things or inappropriate things or,
Or both.
Yeah. And both. It just kind of opens up this world, and most of the time a secret world at that age where, it's very scary to think about just, opening the door of everything possible.
Yeah.
And I would imagine, that's something that you guys deal with, whether it's direct or indirect for the kids is like, when we have in here, some like technology questions of like how, we just need, as parents, we just want to be responsible about that.
Correct. I get that. And it's funny you'll have me here talking about parenting because we have no kids. My wife says I'm the biggest kid. She has enough time raising me. So, and it's true. I mean,
But
I'm
you
always into
deal with
something.
a lot of kids in the
we
community.
do deal with a lot of the kids in the community. Some of the biggest things I could say is like limit time their own social media stuff.
Yeah.
Even limit time their own. I mean, because now pretty much the PlayStation is a social media platform
Yes.
because
You can talk
every
to
game
people
correct,
everywhere. Yep.
everywhere. So I get limited to only like an hour at home, so that's all I get to play when I'm at home.
Yeah.
Of course, at the station we do watch movies, play games, do
Yeah.
stuff.
Sure.
And when it's time to go to work, it's time to go to work. You let down, you leave, and then you don't think about it again. So
Right.
my biggest thing is be just like limit the time their own social media type platforms. Make sure what platforms it is, that it's not a bad platform to
Right.
be on. And I know there is a few technology companies that actually, I won't say they go through the phone, but if certain things are text or said, it alerts the parents
Oh, yeah.
to
Like some
what's going on.
controls.
Correct. I mean,
That's
whether
a
it's
good- that's a
whether
good
it is a going message or an incoming message,
Right.
if it hits certain platforms or certain things, it will alert
That's
the
true.
parents.
Which is great.
I had seen a video about that one time. It was a spoof on a little skit that somebody put together, but it was like, excuse me, and she like stops her son on the way out. And he's like, oh, and she's like,
What?
she's like, your phone just alerted me that you're bullying, and he was like, what, mom? No, I'm not. And he like pulls the strings to his hoodie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was like, oh, that's a real thing.
Yes.
They really can put things like that in place.
Yes, they can.
That's pretty cool. That's
And
interesting.
my poor children, I've told them, because we have the background that we have, your parameters and your rules and regulations are going to be a lot more strict than most people.
Yeah.
And I'm not sorry about it.
No.
It's just I've got to raise you, and I've got to raise you right, and I've got to raise you well.
Yeah.
And I said it's not even because, and I want them to know this. We've had this chat with Maddox recently. It's not even because I don't trust you. It's because I know that trouble will find you. You don't even have to go look for it. It'll come right to you.
Yeah.
And I need you to know that you are strongly rooted enough in your faith that you can just bypass it.
Yeah.
Or you can decide otherwise. And so, I don't think that we're there yet.
Yeah.
Just don't think that at 12, still almost 13, we're almost a teenager, and we have been big advocates for the wait till 8th, which is the wait till 8th grade for a cell phone.
Yeah.
But I still don't see a need for one.
Right.
And because we talk about it, you're either always with me or friends or somewhere where I know how to get in touch with you. When there's a situation where I need to be able to communicate with you and I don't have another way to do it, okay, then I'll send you with your phone.
Yeah.
And so church, sometimes he gets to take it so he can let me know when he's done with discipleship class, or on Wednesday nights when he's done with one way and I can come pick him up, you know, something like that. But it's still so few and far between. And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
No, I agree. We're pretty hardcore on the cell
Yes,
phone
we
thing.
are.
So.
Oh, I understand.
Yes, we are.
Going back to the whole like kind of scare them straight thing. How do you agree And do you think we can kind of take that too far maybe sometimes? Or you think they need to know?
I won't say that because that's the way I was raised. I was raised with telling the truth. Boy, if you embarrass me while we're here, you got to go home with me. And that's what my daddy would say. And it was like, okay.
Yes, sir.
I knew to be very polite and very kind when I walked in. And after years of that, of course, I mean, he didn't mind saying, he just look at me and it's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say a word, I promise.
Yes, sir.
Now, that being said, I was one of those children that never got a spanking. I never got beat. I never got whipped. Nothing. I mean, he never
had to.
never had to.
The message was clear.
I believed him.
Yeah.
I said that. I believed every word he said because everything else he had said in life was true. So I believe that.
That's awesome.
And he's a big softy. He wouldn't have touched me.
He's your
loved me too
friend
much.
now, but he wasn't then, was he?
Best friends in the world now.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't then. He
was your
raised
daddy.
He raised me to be
Yep.
be polite, to have compassion for people, and
But I do think that's what some of society lacks is disciplining your children, to a high enough level that you can look at them.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of rolling your eyes, they go, got it. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that's missing because, and I don't want to say that all of it is because people are trying to be friends with their kids. I just think that some people are afraid to discipline accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I have found too with like having multiple children, you end up treating each child differently because like you kind of see, I don't know, there's some sort of a guilt factor there or something like, well, he, like the second one, the one that's butt wild, he's the one that you're like, well, he didn't mean it that way. And, like you kind of like have this little sympathy for them or so. And it's like,
he goes back to one of our funny things is the first kid falls off the carpet, you call an ambulance. The second one falls off the bunk bed, and like, give him 10 minutes, he'll be fine.
Yep.
So the poor second kid, he gets the brunt of the stuff. So.
Yes, they do.
Exactly. That's hilarious that you guys have your own, ideas about that kind of stuff. That is so
Because
funny.
it's accurate.
It is. It is. I think I took my first one to the hospital twice. The second one's never been to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds right. We've only been once, knock on wood, but it was, stitches were needed above Maddox's eye, so it was a legit trip.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I like this one. How do we raise kids who care about their community instead of just living in their own little world and raising kids who serve?
Number one, get them out of the house. Put them outdoors. Put them in the community. There's a ton of different places that you can go. I mean, Boy Scouts is great.
Yep.
We actually work for Habersham Emergency Services. They've actually started an Explorer post now.
Cool.
Okay.
They asked me, do you want to be a part of it? And it was like, you know what, guys, back in my 20s and 30s, I run one for about 10 years. No, I think I'm good with that right now. I've done enough. So, but they're doing a great job. Lieutenant Seabolt and some of the firefighters are doing a great job. They got 4 or 5 kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like 14 and above, and I used to be the 8th or 9th grade they had to be in. Of course, when we done ours, it was you bring me your report card when it comes in because if you're failing, you're not here.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great.
Cool.
Hard lessons.
Yeah.
You're not going to do this with us and be failing school. That's not going to happen. And most
Not
of the
an
guys,
option.
some of the guys went from being C and D students up to being A and B students because they were afraid they were going to fail. So they started paying more attention.
So cool. I didn't know
good.
that was a thing here.
It is. It
That
is. It just
so
started up.
neat.
I think they've had like 2 months worth of meetings now.
Cool.
Okay.
So they're getting.
Where do they
going.
meet out of?
They're actually meeting out at our state. We call it Station 11. It's the Fairview Fire Department.
Okay.
There's
yeah.
nobody there anymore. We use it as a training department.
Yeah.
It's right at the end of the old Fairview School Road.
Yep.
So that's where they're doing it at.
They do a lot of training there. I pass by there every day. I'm like, man, they got a lot going on all of a sudden.
That is all of our new recruits coming in. So all the new guys that we get to pick on for the next year, the probies.
Nice.
Yep.
It's definitely not hazing, but we get to make them people. I mean, we get to bring them
You
in.
harden them up a little bit.
20-year-old that has never left mom, and now listen. I heard a chief tell us one time. He said had a kid show up the first day to work to be work on a fire truck, and his mama dropped him off at work.
Oh no.
And I was like, "Did your car break down?" He says, "I don't have a driver's license." Kid's never drove a car, and now
How old
he is
was he?
20.
Oh wow.
Now here he is going into a fire department where he's going to be driving a could be driving $1 million fire truck
Yeah.
tomorrow, but no, never drove a car. So they literally had to take him and teach him how to drive and get his license before they could let him turn him loose to be a firefighter.
Wow.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
But as shocked as I am at that particular instance, there are so many teenagers these days that do not want to get their license.
Which is so odd to me because I was like, what day can I go?
Yes.
But they're and to that point, a girlfriend of mine, her son has recently gotten his learner's permit. I guess he's 15. And they went somewhere, maybe Toccoa, so not far from here. And they got in the car and she was like, all right, drive us there. And he's over there pulling up Apple Maps, trying to, and she was like, son, just drive us to whatever, Walmart in Toccoa. And because he had been looking down for so many years in the passenger seat, he didn't know which way to go.
I have no comment on this situation.
That's part of, some of the games that we play in the car, but it's heads up. So we play, our favorite game to play in the car is Juicy Fruit. Jeep is specifically what they like to play. You look for yellow Jeeps, Jeep Wranglers. And if you win, or if you spot one, you automatically win. And so that's the game. We're constantly looking for yellow Jeeps, but it also is making them aware of where we're at, because I know in the law enforcement world, once upon a time, when you're in training, you are stopped at a random spot where there are no cross streets, and your FTO goes, "Where are we at?" And if you don't know the names of the streets, you might have to walk until they decide to come pick you up. And so that's just something we've implemented with the kids. Where are we at? What street are we on? What road is this?
That's really smart. Because let me tell you, somebody was saying, I've been in this area for more than 20 years. And a client of mine was talking to me on the phone. He's like, oh, is that over there by the blah, blah, blah? I'm like, let me tell you something. I was like, if I went in the first house in my neighborhood, I've had trouble getting out of there. So I am the wrong person to ask. I am very dependent on maps. We watch a lot of body cam stuff at the house. My boys are, I don't know why, they're very interested in that. And I always you can hear in the background, they're like northbound on blah, 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 southbound. I'm like, mercy.
Which is how I will still give directions, northbound, southbound of whatever cross street.
No, Laura, we need landmarks.
We need landmarks. Like, where's the closest Waffle House? Where's the racetrack? And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
My husband does that. He's like, go north on. I'm like, how am I supposed to know that?
It's just a habit.
I'm your worst nightmare, aren't I?
Pretty much, yeah. It's fun. I mean, I won't say it's fun to get a wreck on the interstate, but you'll get a wreck on the interstate and there'll be 4 different phone calls. And they're like, we think they're near the 385 bridge on the southbound side, and it'll be like 2 miles from there on the northbound side is where you'll find the wreck. And it's like, we're going to stop at this one. If we find another one, send another truck to it, please. Because
yes. And you're going, dispatch,
we're not even
hold everything. I'll hold all your traffic. We need to reroute here, there. However the call came in.
No, I've called in a few things and they're like, where are you at? I'm like,
Can we skip that question and come back to it?
I can tell you exactly what I can see right now, but
but where am I at? I don't know. Just here.
Yes. Yeah, that is definitely a downfall of mine. I think this is a good tip. This is an excellent parenting tip. Make sure your kids know where they're at.
That's right. That's exactly
Absolutely.
Right. Exactly
it's
right.
so important.
So we used to play the alphabet game. You had to see a word that had the A through Z.
Yep.
You really got to get a couple of them letters. You really got to understand what you're looking at.
Yep. The Q doesn't come up except for at Dairy Queen and La Quinta Inn.
Right.
Okay, that's the only place there's Q. So if you know the road you're traveling on, you know that La Quinta is getting close.
I feel that's a perfect spot for Daniel to insert a Dairy Queen in the hotel.
Right.
Yep, and if they're right next to each other, well, you've just wasted a cue.
Yeah.
Like, dang it. The other person isn't on their cue yet. I'm like,
man. Got both of them.
Yeah, we know that game all too well.
Pan fave.
Yes. Okay, speaking of serving the community, you have a really special thing that you do. You serve at the Special Olympics.
I do serve at the Special Olympics. We do it every year that we can.
Yeah.
So we started back, I started back, I should say, in around 2000. There was honestly a class at the Georgia Fire Academy called Alternative Teaching Methods.
Oh.
So Chief Smith come up to me. We used to have a dog suit in Cornelia.
Like a costume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like the Buc-ee's bear or
Okay.
the
Whatever
the
it
Chick-fil-A
is. Yeah.
Cow, yeah.
Yeah.
So this dog suit fit somebody who was around 5'11" to 6'1" and about 300 pounds. And guess who fell right into that one? I wore this dog suit everywhere it went.
I love
and this
it.
thing is, it's like 4th of July. I would be out there just burning up.
Mm-hmm.
And he come up to me and he said, have you ever heard of the Alternative Teaching Methods class? I said, yeah, the clown class. He goes, yeah.
Oh.
So he says, if you go to it and actually do it, you don't have to wear the dog suit. I said, sign me up right now.
Yep. Put my name down.
Not knowing already that I was a clown before I ever went to school. They just taught me how to do the makeup and the technology and the puppets and a few other things that goes along with it. And we started going out and doing fire safety
How cool.
in schools, like grade schools. So we would do skits, do the programs like you'd see on TV.
Yeah.
And it got to where we started becoming noticed because we'd go out like to do balloons somewhere and it would be like, hey, you were at my school and you taught me how to stop, drop, and roll. And it's like,
How sweet.
maybe this actually works.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah. My whole career pretty much, I started in 98. So 2000, 2 years after starting, they sent me to clown class. And so
So that's what you do at the Special
At the
Olympics.
Special Olympics, we are a group of clowns who will go out and we'll play with the kids and we talk to them and we welcome them and send them off when they get there. And
I love it.
there may be pictures of us actually running in some of the races with them and losing, of course, because
Yes.
I'm not running too far anywhere.
Well, you got clown shoes on. So
They're made for my feet. They're handmade leather
cool.
shoes.
That is cool.
People don't realize that the toes of them, no, my feet don't go out there, but they're stuffed with I think it's horse mane that keeps the
okay.
sweat and stuff down in the shoes.
interesting.
They're like majorly built for us, just like
They're legit.
Cool.
the legit. Yeah, like the Olympics. So we was watching the Olympics of speed skaters, and I'm like, they're not wearing socks.
Oh.
Come to find out, their shoes are made to be so snug that they don't have to wear socks. They want the feel of the ice, so it's like, well, they're just like my clown shoes. They're made for me, so they only fit my feet. They're tailored to me. So,
Huh. This
The more you know.
Yeah. That
and
is
there
so
goes back
neat.
to the jack of all trades and the master of none. Because I was wondering, okay, I got to look this up. I gotta be my nerdy self for 5 minutes and look
Yes.
this up. Why they're not wearing socks?
Told you. I look stuff up just so I can learn something like,
I bet your Google search history is interesting.
oh man. Yeah.
Okay, and so that brings me to another thing. It's not a question y'all are asking, but I got that. So I do some field training stuff with us for the EMS side, which means I bring them in. I show them kind of our procedures, our policies, how we do stuff, where everything is, make sure they can do their part of their job the way they're supposed to. And then we sign off that they can, and we send them off on a shift to go work. I had to honestly study. Sorry, that's the head injury. Sometimes I forget the words.
No, it's
you're
good.
I had to study common sense.
Yo.
At first, at first it was like,
Tell us
is
about
common
that.
sense really something you have to study? Yes, it is. It's not common sense at all.
Common ain't so common.
Common is not common at all. It is little lessons you've learned your entire life that somebody has taught to you that you can now put forward and put your hands on and do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some people say, oh, it's common sense to drive a nail. No, if my daddy hadn't have showed me, I'd have held the thing upside down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's little
true.
small lessons you teach along the way.
I love
that.
that
lets
is
these people.
that is so true.
So I learned that some of the guys coming up, these 19-year-olds who don't have license, they don't have all that teaching from their parents. They were given a cell phone or they were given a video game and they sat and played and they didn't learn nothing.
Yeah.
And now here we are, 20 years old. They don't know how to do nothing. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is very true. Like my husband's really, he's very handy.
Right.
And his daddy was very handy. But if he was not handy like that, my kids certainly would not be handy because
no.
this girl, she doesn't do much stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's certainly not coming from me. And I I have talked about this before in like our Wealthy Kids Academy stuff. Like, I think people assume that children know how to clean. Go clean your room.
No, they don't. Show them.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can like move stuff, but I don't really know what cleaning means unless you showed me.
Right.
And what you mean by cleaning versus what I mean by cleaning might be very different. You know, and there is all these things that I could see that now from your perspective. Now that you've said that.
So, and my way of teaching I love is I will show them, I will tell them while they're doing it. Mm-hmm. I will show them again, and then I'll let them show and teach me how to do exactly what I showed them. That way I know if it stuck or if it didn't.
Yeah.
Then I need to go back over and do it again, and that's fine as long as we know, and then we can move on when we get to the point of where we feel like can move on, we move on with them. So, I mean, that's, we're teaching them common sense that they didn't get taught nowhere else for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes that stuff comes easier to certain kids. Like my oldest, he's so smart, very technologically savvy, and he can watch, like the steps of, from A to B. He watches sequences and things like that. But sometimes that whole common sense thing, I'm like, son, what?
Yeah. Like, why does it even compute in your brain that way?
Yes. I'm like, oh, honey, like you can read a book, but you can't, like, you don't know where that dish goes, so. Yeah, it's not something that is extremely natural for sure.
So, common sense is not really all that common. It is.
Excellent parenting tip. Teach your kids the common sense, the common things that you don't think, you're like, why do I have to teach a person this?
And we might think, it is common sense to us, but it's not yet
common sense
to them. Mm-hmm. Not yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I've never thought about it from like a perspective of, teaching someone a new skill, career, things like that.
Until I decided to do the field training stuff, I didn't either. Yeah. I mean, it didn't make sense to me. But when I started, like I said, I started getting kids who couldn't load a dishwasher. It's like, go put the dishes in the dishwasher. They would put all the bowls on the bottom, and it's like, the water goes up and clean, so it won't go past that. And they're looking at me like, I don't understand.
Nope. Didn't realize that.
Okay, let's talk about the dishwasher. The flat stuff goes on the bottom, the big stuff goes on top.
Yep. Now, I think everybody has their own way of loading a dishwasher now.
They do.
Tetris.
They do. Tetris, there you go.
Yep.
My theory is pack as much stuff in there as possible.
Yep, that's my theory too. But there is a way, and it is because I have shown the boys how to do it. And, the thing that they always get me with, though, is why do we have to rinse these off before we put them in the dishwasher? I'm like, because sometimes the dishwasher doesn't get the heavy stuff off. If you can get most of it off before you put it in there, that just helps.
I tell them it's because I'm too cheap to buy the Bosch, so you get the other brand and you got to rinse it first.
Yep.
Okay, so does anybody need a dishwasher? We bought our house new in 2008. I think it's ran once.
What?
You don't use it?
It's only me and my wife. We only use like 2 or 3 dishes at a time. We just wash them and stick them in the sink.
It'd take a long time to fill it, wouldn't it?
It'd take a week. We don't have enough dishes to fill it. We don't feed that many people at home.
I could run a load a day.
Oh, we do. No. Yep, we do. We have on here, I kind of like this one. I don't think we've touched on it yet. You have seen a lot of trauma. You've seen loss. What builds resilience in a person, and what do you see in people who handle crisis well?
Leadership is one of the biggest things. It's how they're being led into bad situations. So us older guys actually make it easier on the younger guys. Mm-hmm. I tell most of them, if y'all had the training I had, y'all wouldn't still be here. Y'all had already been crying in the corner somewhere because they were rough on us. Back when I first started, it was a rough business to even think about getting into because the old guys expected you to come in and be ahead of the game. And so now it's not quite that way, but the trauma is, I call it a 2-month or a 20-year person. They'll come in for 2 months and see stuff and realize that they can't deal with it, and they'll be gone, or they'll be here for 20 years. And I don't know why we're special, why we can do what we do. Until Laura mentioned earlier, I hadn't even thought about that. I mean, when she said, me and you got to go in the ambulance together, I'm going, which kid did I take in the ambulance? It was like, I passed that, and it's like, oh yeah, I took her. Never mind.
I was the patient.
I had put that out of my mind. I mean, I hadn't even it never even come into my mind until she said she was the patient.
Yeah.
That it was her. I mean,
Yeah.
it just so we have a crazy way, I guess, of blocking stuff. We block the bad, and we remember what we need to
Right.
when we see it the next time to still go forward with doing what we do. But I don't know. It's
I have had this conversation with another first responder friend of mine, and we didn't start out trying to talk about this particular subject. We were just talking, and I said, I am so grateful for the people who can do this line of work because I know it's not something that I could handle. And I'm so very grateful for people who are called. And to me, that is what it is. It's a calling because you are equipped with something and abilities that we're not all equipped with. It's a true calling, something placed on your heart and on your mind that allows you to do those things that we can't all do. And I'm so very grateful for people like for people like you that can do that.
and see, I look at the other people as they're strange because they can't.
Yeah.
It's in my mindset. It's So my wife worked for a long time in public safety as well. She now is a teacher for special needs at Northampton. So she comes home and tells me some of the stuff some of the teachers say, and I just laugh about it. And it's like, I don't even know where they come up with this stuff. One asked one time, what time do y'all take lunch break? And she's like, they don't take a lunch break. They eat, and if they don't, they just keep going.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, but there has to be a lunch break sitting there somewhere. They stop and eat lunch. And it's like, oh, no. One thing I want on shift is a hot cup of coffee and a hot meal because we never get that. Usually you set your coffee down and it's cold when you get back to it.
Yep. Because we used to say we've left more meals than we finished.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, many.
Yeah.
It's always lovely. Of course, we cook at the station, it's another family for us. We spend a third of our life with this family at work. So we cook supper, and I can't tell you how many times we've cooked supper and sit down and said a prayer and then come back 3 hours later and the food's still sitting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the question is, do we need to pray again, or is it still good?
that we prayed over it was still here.
Just me again, praying over this 3-day-old spaghetti. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's like when you eat your leftovers.
Oh.
It's like, hey, Lord, just me again, praying over this 3-day-old spaghetti.
That's hilarious. I think too, there's like an aspect of like talking about like the like dealing with trauma. And I don't mean to make this sound light or anything. For us, it has been very heartbreaking. We have lost an old dog this past weekend. And my kids, she's older than them. And so when, she's always been there. Right. And so when we lost her, my youngest, he has a heart for this. It did not bother him. He was upset and he's missed her and he's talking about her and things. But my oldest, it's just torn him up. But we've I wanted them to be able to process it how it was natural for them. Not hold back tears, not talk about it. Well, let's not look at pictures right now, or I've wanted to try to get them all the way through the whole process because it's healthy.
Right.
I don't, and I feel like that I've been blessed to be able to know that. I think it's scary for some people to go through things like that. Of course, it's heartbreaking, but there's ways to deal with it, and I think you guys have a special gift of knowing how to do that.
We do, and we have a peer support group here in the county. So we do reach out on bad situations, bad calls, stuff that we don't see every day. I'll tell people, we'll come to work and Granny is sick, will get us in trouble. We know how to do the bad emergency stuff because that's what we're taught. But still seeing it the first time is different.
Right.
Seeing some of the things we do is not natural. I believe there is not to overuse this word, but PTSD comes with this job as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's some stuff that we think about and we can't get out of our minds. And we have a peer group who you can go to. We can pull everybody together. We can talk. It's very religious based of what we do. And then if we still need help after that, we will find them the help they need to process it on out. I had a pretty bad accident over the summer that left me in the hospital for a little while. And of course, at the end of the stay, the doctors come in and start asking all the PTSD questions. It's like, no. And he walks out, and I look over at Paula, my wife, which is like my rock, And she's crying. I said, what's wrong? She said, I answered yes to every one of those.
Oh.
Because she had never actually been in the situation, because I had a seizure that led them to find the problem. Wow. And she had never been that close to somebody. So it actually caused some. And I said, okay, we need to get you help. We need to get this taken care of now.
Right.
Instead of later. So we've been working toward that. And it's still, she still has questions. We went up to see a group over the weekend up in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And it's like, you sure you can drive that far without having a seizure? And it's like, I think I'm okay. I'm good now. All the problem is gone. It was the bleed that caused the problem. So,
so if you have some of your guys, or, your younger guys that are listening, obviously I feel like you encourage them to find their community, whatever that looks like.
Yes. Find the family, find us, the other guys who's been through the same stuff, who had to deal with it. Like I said, when I come up, it was a suck it up, you'll be fine.
Right.
Is what we take. If we had problems, it's like, suck it up, you're fine. We don't need to do that to people anymore. We need to actually, be compassionate to our own people is the way we are to our, I don't want to call them customers, but really that's what people who call 911 are. They're our customers. That's why we're here. This is the reason we do our job. So we have to remember to do the same thing when we get back home. And that's kind of a parenting tip too. Teach your kids, but also listen to what they have to say. If there's problems, fix the problems.
Yes, that's very true. Sometimes we do tend to be like, oh, you're fine.
Brush it off.
Yeah. You're all right. Toughen up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When in reality, it's just, they're just stuffing and stuffing and stuffing. And
jamming it down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's got to come out. And like you said, there's just, there's so many things that you see that are unnatural, and to compartmentalize it and just try to brush it off is immensely dangerous. So I love that there's a group and that this kind of old, the old way of, suck it up is kind of becoming a thing of the past, because if you just continue to put things away, like they're going to come out eventually, and you don't really know how, when. And so being able to have a game plan, I feel like is great.
Yeah. Yeah. Gwinnett just experienced a loss. And that was a traumatic situation for that man. And he just never got over it from what they understood. You never want to see that as someone who has dedicated their life to the community. And then, we as a community overall, we want them to help and seek help. That was so tragic. That was just so,
because we're just not, you're not any different than everybody else.
Right.
Like, you put on the uniform and report to work. But at the end of the day, I used to ask my inmates, I said, I said, we've got two differences, you and I, standing in this meeting of your housing unit at shift change or whatever it was. I said, there's two differences between you and I. Well, what are they? I said, one is you're wearing green and I'm wearing blue. And I said, you got caught and I didn't. Those are the differences. That's it.
Yeah.
I leave this building and, I'm no different than you are. And so, I may be assigned to this call or this situation or whatever, but I do have to be strong while I'm here. But when I leave, this stuff tears me up.
Yeah.
And so I love that you said that there's a group now.
Oh yeah, and the two sayings that I have is my favorite one is, I said to y'all earlier. Let's see, I've gone blank, and I'm so sorry.
No, that's no big deal.
The production guy's going to kill me trying to.
He's not.
No, not at all.
Number one is they call us heroes. I'm not a hero. I'm a person in a hero's uniform. I do my job. I wouldn't ever consider myself anything outside of Phillip. I mean, I have a hero's job, but I am definitely not a hero. And then people ask me all the time, have a good day, and it's like every meal's a feast.
Yep.
Every day's a holiday, every meal's a feast, and people hear me say that more than once. And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, might be my last day here.
Yeah.
So I eat like a feast, and it's a holiday, and let's go on.
Yep. Got breath in our lungs.
That's right.
That's all that we need. Do you have, I have like one last like little question. Do you have any additional questions or things you want to talk about?
I think we've touched on most of these over here. These have all been great.
I had one that, what do you wish that kids understood about first responders? You know, if there's like fear or things like that, that maybe they don't understand.
Probably the biggest thing is we're all here to help.
Yeah.
You know, some parents teach their kids law is bad. You know, scared to death. They see blue lights and they go running, and it's like, why?
Right.
The guys are not here to hurt us. They're not here to be against us. They are here to help.
Yeah.
That is pretty much in our oath. Our job is to help. It's to be here at your lowest. We're here to pick you up and make you to your highest.
Oh, I love that.
So, you know, it's.
Is it okay to let our kids come over to you and talk to you and introduce them to you? I think especially when they're little, they're intimidating. You guys have, walkies and,
Right.
All different things on, uniforms and all this kind of stuff. And I always liked, my kids would be like, I'm like, go say hi. Every officer, every firefighter, everybody that we ever spoke with was like, they would crouch down, get on their level. Hey, buddy, I just like melted my heart because they could see then that they're not scary at all.
Right.
We want them around.
just like I said, we're just regular people. All the stuff we carry, we most of us have radio belts. They have a radio. Mine has a flashlight, a phone, scissors, hand sanitizer. And everybody goes, don't they get heavy to wear? And it's like, yeah, but if I get up at 3:00 in the morning, I can't find all this stuff. I lose it. If I can pick up my belt and walk out the door, I'm good to go then. So, we encourage kids to come. You see us out somewhere eating or want to talk to us, come by. Please say hey.
Buy their meal, folks.
Yes. No.
It's a nice thing to do occasionally.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
We don't go out in public for anybody to do anything nice. We call it family time like everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, so as far as I'm concerned, when I'm on whatever med unit I'm riding that day or a fire truck, that part is my family, and I'm gonna go to their house, and that's who they're gonna be.
Yeah.
And I'll tell a lot of them, I said, I'm gonna treat you like family, and they'll be like, no, I'm gonna treat you better than that because some of my family I don't really care for. So we're gonna treat you a lot better than family in the back of this truck.
I love it. I bet you ease the situation really, really well.
I had a partner years ago, so there's a lot of difference between somebody having actual like chest pain and anxiety, panic attacks. Some reason I always said it's just the gift of gab. I can talk to anybody. I've never met a stranger. And she's like, you can talk somebody out of that so quick, and nobody else will like rile them up. And it's like, well, you got to get them calm back to where they are. And she goes, I don't know how you do it. I can't. And it's like, well, I don't either. So
it's one of your gifts.
Gift of gab. That's what it is. Gift of talking. I told you I could keep y'all talking an hour about one subject here. So I mean,
that's your 10th fruit of the spirit.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
Yep. I love it. Well, Phillip, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank y'all for having me.
We appreciate it.
Awesome conversation. We like talking about the parent aspect of it, the community service aspect of it. It's just exactly where our hearts are. So we have just enjoyed it so much.
Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the service that you provide to our
You're
community.
more than welcome.
We're very grateful for you.
Ain't no thanks needed though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. You guys know we have a goal this year. We would love to hit 10,000, not 10,000 subscribers on YouTube this year. So that's our goal. If you're not yet, please go over to YouTube, hit subscribe. You'll get notifications every time we post a new video. We're working on trying to get some shorts up, stuff like that, so you can get little clips. But it's a work in progress.
Yes, it is.
As you know, we cannot do this without our amazing producer, Stay Stoked Creative Co. You can find out more about him in the show notes below. And I think that's it.
This was great.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
I like changing it up a little bit and kind of tackling this one from a different angle.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we will see you next week.
Appreciate you guys. Be blessed.
See ya.